kind of driving me crazy this year. As you see yourself or not feel yourself have the success that you once used to have, man, it's a tough pill to swallow. And then on top of that, to not be there in the biggest moments, knowing your team's counting on you, man, it's just a tough reality.
Man, and the tough thing, RC, when you think about leaving the game, and you can certainly give us some insight here, is what note do you want to leave on, right, after that stinker of a Super Bowl? Yeah. What do you think of what he said?
I mean, he's just talking about age. Travis Kelce is talking about father time, and it comes for us all. Comes for some of us sooner than others. And for Travis Kelce, he has 12 wonderful years as being the best pass-catching tight end in all of football, but that time is over. And I think when you go back to that Super Bowl, not being able to separate, not being able to come up with those huge third down plays or be that safety blanket for Patrick Mahomes, that weighs on you. And since 2019, this team has played an entire extra season more than anybody else in football. And that continual pounding on your body, asking yourself to get up emotionally, mentally, and physically for those extra games, it does take its toll on you. And so now Travis Kelce has to be faced with his mortality as far as it pertains to football. Whether or not he wants to be a diminished player, whether or not he can't be the Travis Kelce that he used to be, and is it worth it to get up Monday through Saturday to prepare yourself for Sundays when Sundays just aren't as rewarding?
Yeah, well said, Ryan. Listen, I think that when I listen to what he's saying, I understand why there's a lot of people right now who are saying clearly he's got one foot out the door and he's ready to retire. I did not play the game like Jason or Ryan, obviously, but I've talked to a number of players who always tell me the same thing. You can't decide your future the week after the season ends. You've got to let your mind and your body heal. Now, when it comes to Travis, he is transparent. He has a great podcast where he's talking openly about this process. I don't think that we should simply listen to this and say, absolutely, he is going to retire. I think he deserves what he said, which is time to figure this out. And one thing I would point out when it comes to productivity, everybody says, oh, he wasn't productive, he's done. In 2020, Rob Gronkowski came out of retirement and played for the Bucs that season. I have the numbers here. He had 45 catches for 623 yards. Travis Kelce this season had 97 catches for 823 yards. He can still have an impact on the team. Maybe not like he used to have, but in the locker room and really on the field as well. He just has to decide, am I ready to go through this again? And am I ready to be a contributor rather than the star of the offense?
Mm-hmm. And Jeff, you just said it as you talked about his numbers. Those numbers put him fifth in the NFL among tight ends when it comes to yards in a season, and also third when it came to reception. So he's still playing at a high level. Now, the Super Bowl was ugly for him and the Kansas City Chiefs. But as I look at Travis Kelce, it's more about what type of player he wants to be in the NFL going forward. He led them in targets with 133. That was 35 more targets than Xavier Worthy, the next guy in line. So I think that is more the issue. When you talk about what RC said, they played an entire season more than since 2019, and you mix in the age of Travis Kelce, they probably need less of him throughout the course of the season and more of him in those big moments so he's fresher and he's ready to play. Now, does Kelce want to be out there if he's not elite and amongst the top tight ends as he's getting older? Only he can make that decision.
But that's the thing, though, right? Like, it's different. Like, there are a lot of players who are always here. And if they drop a little bit right here, they're still a contributor, even if it's not at the level that they were. But Travis Kelce was here, and I hope my hand is out of the screen on TV, too. It's hard to be here. It's hard to be a guy on third down. They're taking you out of the game to put in Noah Gray. It's hard to be a guy to say, okay, we're going to save you. And instead of you getting 30-plus more targets than everybody on the team, you're now going to be third or fourth in targets. That's what this is about for Travis Kelce. Yeah, for the normal guy, it's great that I'm just one of the 53. But when you're a first ballot Hall of Fame tight end, that's not what you live for. And they also have to talk about the trappings of what's waiting for him in the world. It's different for Travis Kelce than it is for the tight end on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so you have to weigh that in to this whole process for him. And by the way, Jeff, I didn't need an extra week after the season to retire. I retired on my couch in November. I just played hard as hell to the end because I knew it was over.
Hey, man.
I love it.
Exactly. And by the way, you do make a really good point, though, about what comes next for Travis. Mm-hmm. I would only warn this. I know there's a lot of people out there that assume, oh, his relationship with Taylor will lead him to retire because he's just going to go on tour with her and do his thing. He's still a locker room guy. He still has love for football. I can tell you that wholeheartedly, talking to him plenty of times this season. I don't think it's as simple as that. I think we have to remember that down to his core, Travis Kelce is a football player and still would love to be in that locker room if his body can let him be.
And also think about the other important relationship in his life, and that is with his quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. And that is very real. It's very interesting that you brought up Gronkowski because he had that with Brady. And obviously this is one of the great quarterback tight end duos in history. All right, let's talk about the champs. The Eagles defense is set up for both the present and the future. They got 111 starts from defenders age 25 or younger last season, tied with the 93 Cowboys for the third most by a Super Bowl champ. That was back in the day, you know, when the Cowboys were winning Super Bowl. Yeah. Only the 1981 Niners and the 2022 Chiefs had more. All right, so J-Mac, this young secondary had such a huge impact on the Super Bowl. Show us how they got it done.
Oh, man, it was unbelievable. And Vic Fangio did a lot of it with disguise and not moving people all around, but having his two safeties in the same spot before every single snap. And it really confused Patrick Mahomes some. Andy Reid right here, they come out empty, knowing that they're going to get to a 4-by-1 formation. And a lot of this is film study. The linebacker, Oren Burks, right away starts communicating with his defensive line. You see all of those four guys up to the top of the screen, one guy down the bottom. Ball is snapped. Look how these Eagles linebackers all push over to get to that overload side of the 4-by-1. When this is all settled and done, you still have those four receivers on one side, but look how the Eagles have matched everybody in coverage, forcing Mahomes on a 3rd and 17 to eat the ball and have to scramble and fall short of a first down. Here it goes again. Those two safeties right in the middle of the field, not moving before the snap. Mahomes thinks he has something down about him. On that ball, Reed Blankenship gets over the top, and that allows Quinyon Mitchell to have to jump that short route. Patrick Mahomes is forced to hold the ball for a beat, and that's when that defensive line with just four guys is able to get after him. The next play, you see it. It's been consistent. Those two safeties in the middle of the field, forcing him to do something different. This time, Josh Sweat drops out, and now it's only a 3-man rush. And look at the amount of guys that are around Travis Kelce in the middle of the field, taking away Patrick Mahomes' first read, force him to hold the ball and having to check the ball down. This is an offense that we saw throughout the season. Quick pass game, RPO looks, getting the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hand as soon as possible. He was not able to do that Super Bowl Sunday, and those four guys up front were absolute menace, getting after him time after time. They were pushing those two tackles together. They looked